Hey guys, I wanted to make another video today, and I wanted to start by showing you some dust, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I wanted to show you these pictures in our bathroom, and you most likely can see the dust. I probably have not dusted these picture frames in at least the last year. And why, you might ask, are you showing me your dusty picture frames? Well, let me tell you. As perfect as a house may look on the outside or even the inside, there's no perfect house, right? There's no perfect person, no matter how put together they look on the outside. No matter how put together they seem to be on the inside, there's no perfect person. And I wanted to connect that for a moment in your mind that there actually is no perfect school program or school system. And I think one of the things that I have learned, the biggest thing I've learned in my 6 or 7 years of homeschool and having our kids either in public school or homeschool, is that I have put, and I think others maybe you, may put too much weight and put too much, invest too much in our thought, in our concept that the public school system or a public school system is the best place for our kids. And I want to start by challenging you to not to think that way, because there are positives and negatives about every school system. There are positives and negatives about every teacher, about every school choice, whether you homeschool or go to charter school or private school or religious school or public school or this district or that district. There are positives and negatives about every single school choice that you make. And so start maybe by listing off some of the positives and negatives if you haven't already made the decision on homeschool versus public school for this school year. So I just wanted to encourage you, I need to go dust off those picture frames, and that's going to make those picture frames in that bathroom cleaner. And so when we look at the negative things, the things that are negative on our list, whatever school system we are involved in, that's how we can improve. And so we need to have our eyes wide open to the negative things that are affecting us or our children and their education, and work to improve it. And I think every school district and every school, every educational choice everywhere is what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do, is improve, right? They don't want to continue doing the negative thing. They want to be the best at what they do. So I just wanted to encourage you in that. So even if your homeschool journey, if you choose to homeschool, starts off dusty, you can improve on your homeschool. And I have, the last 6 to 8 years, I have learned so much. And I failed at times, but you pick yourself up and you keep going, just like you would if there were issues in the public school, right? So today I wanted to talk briefly about also about educational philosophies in homeschool. So if you don't want to listen to any more of this video, if you just take time to Google educational philosophies or homeschool educational philosophies and read some blogs or some there's tons out there that you can start to check into the homeschool philosophies. And the reason I say that is because this can help you know, first of all, if public school versus homeschool is better for your child, if it's better for you, and if you or which one is better for you. And if you do choose to homeschool, that will play a lot into what curriculum you start to look into for educating your child. So educational philosophies in homeschool. So I'm just going to briefly go over the educational philosophies. I have gotten this off of, it is homeschool-life.com is where I pulled this one off. I liked how it was worded. There are some great questions to consider on this website on questions to ask about you and about your child, and then to help you kind of decide what homeschool philosophy you tend to. That would be best for you and your student. So the first is traditional approach. And the traditional approach is largely what we think of when we think of public school systems. So the questions to ask about that is, does my child perform well in a school classroom? Does my child like to complete assignments and have defined goals? Is my child academically oriented? Will my child complete the assignments with minimum prodding from me? Does my child read well and have good comprehension skills? Can my child work independently? Can my child learn without a lot of variety to the teaching materials? So this traditional approach is largely workbooks, a little bit of a teacher oversight where you may be lecturing your student, telling them, giving them new material, and then giving them a workbook worksheets to complete. The strengths of the traditional approach is that it's easy, it's well laid out. If you do virtual school, most likely this is the philosophy that you will, if you do well with this and your student does well with this, you'll do really well with virtual school. And so the other thing is it follows standardized scope and sequence. So it's very standardized, it's very easy. You can, there's milestones for accomplishments, so you can see when your child is moving forward very easily. It's easy to grade because there's tests and worksheets. The weaknesses of this approach is that it doesn't take into account individual learning styles, strengths and weaknesses, or the student's interest. It also assumes that there's a body of information that completes an education, and that can be broken down into daily increments. So someone somewhere has to decide the information that's getting put into your child, but we all know that there's so much more out there than what we gain in school, right? So really a joy of learning is what we need to focus on, in my opinion, instead of just getting information into the brain and regurgitating it on a test. But if your student is really good at digesting information and retaining it, then this approach would be really great for them. So yeah, that I think are the positives. It's teacher directed, and some of the negatives, I guess, depending on your style. Different ages have to study different materials. So let's say you have 4 or 5 student kids that you're going to be homeschooling. You will need to then do all the subjects in every single grade level for every single child. So that can be overwhelming if you have multiple children at home. It can get expensive if you're purchasing your own curriculum and actually doing legal homeschool. Full year kits can run thousands of dollars depending on the age of your child. There's also a high burnout rate. So depending on the learning style of your child, it's very easy to get kids having tears every day because they don't want to do the work because it's not fun or exciting. It's a lot of times it's desk work, sitting at a table, sitting at a desk, doing work. Some of the resources for traditional style, if you want to look into the curriculum, if you've heard of Abeka or Saxon, Bob Jones, Alpha Omega. So a lot of those are, so this website I got this off of is a Christian religious-based website. So a lot of these are strictly Christian, but there are huge amounts of other curriculums out there. The next approach is called the classical approach. Actually, to make this video not super long, I'm just going to briefly run through the others, and we can talk about it more at another time. The classical approach the unit study approach, the Charlotte Mason approach, unschooling, and the eclectic approach. I think I will do videos on each of these different styles of homeschool, maybe cover 2 in a video so I don't have these videos super long. So I think that's all I'll cover for today. But the last thing I wanted to let you know that a great place to start looking for curriculum is a website called Kathy Duffy Reviews. That's